Greetings, everyone. This is Gerard, editor-in-chief of Filipino Soul Magazine, aka SGIB Magazine. That stands for Soldiers Got Intentions. Believe that, because everyone should be soldiering for something: a dream, a goal, an idea, a train of thought, something. And on the PBG's production, that stands for Photos by Gerard, the best in freelance publicity photography. Well, right now I'm still in Manila, in Ayala, Philippines. I know you guys back in New York are having somewhere about 10-degree weather, snow. So I feel sorry for you, but that's what it is. You know, there are a couple of things I want to talk to you about. I ran across this story that's happening in Russia. I posted it on my Facebook, so if you happen to go in there, you'll see it. It's a story about cannibalism that was taking place in Russia. I can't pronounce the name of the place. It starts with a K. Those of you who are familiar with that country may know, although there are probably a lot of them, because you understand, a lot of them that probably start with a letter K. But the story ran as follows. There were some world workers that were working on the road, doing whatever they do, or maybe picking up trash, picking up garbage, whatever, and they came across a cell phone. So they happened to look at the pictures on the cell phone, and they saw pictures of someone holding bloody parts of a body, you know, a hand or arm or something like this. It was gruesome. It was gruesome, to say the least. That the person took the phone to the police, and so what happened was that the police did an investigation and found out that there's a couple that may be responsible for the past 30 years cannibalizing people. And just when you think it couldn't get any worse, it does. They also cooked food and provided food for hospices and also for the military. So there just may be a train of thought out there that probably think that they were serving food in those places, which is pretty sad, you know, when you think about it. You know, but they got them. It just goes to show you that, you know, people do wrong for long periods of time and may not think they can get away, they've gotten away with it. But as we see time and time again, whether it be through DNA or whether it be through the carelessness or the cavalier attitude or the arrogance of thinking that they would just continue getting away with it when it happens. Case in point, all these sexual allegations that are happening, I mean, that's a good thing. You know, none of the musicians, great musicians, have been called to task to answer for their, you know, sexual crimes or could have been molestation or sexual assault. But it's unfortunate. That's why they say daylight is the best disinfectant. Now, of course, I tried to bring you some news what's happening here in the Philippines. I came to hear this story. You know, each country is kind of has its own stamp, I guess you might say. Trying to be the Aussies with their alligators, you know, Colombia with their cocaine. United States, you know, they're drug infested. It's a drug infested. Well, the Philippines have a dubious title too. And let me read it to you. It says, Facebook, Google, and Twitter and other web giants should be prosecuted for failing to track online exploitation of children more aggressively. Experts said on Wednesday. The Philippines is the top source of child pornography globally, and 8 in 10 Filipino children are in danger of online sexual assault and bullying. Imagine that, 8 out of 10. You know, one thing I'm happy about the Philippines, well, let me first tell you about the United States. You know, I've been around children, you know, I have mentored children, organizations, and etc. But one thing I know about children, especially in that vulnerable age, you never interact with them outside of the eyesight of their parents. Now let me say that again. You should never interact with the child outside of the eyesight of the parent. I have this one little niece, her name Anna. Her mother was pregnant. This is when I was with the Russians for about 10 years. Her mother was pregnant. Took pictures of her like this, and you know, pictures of the baby born, and pictures of her growing up, and And eventually, you know, for about 2 years, she wouldn't let me touch her. She was afraid of me, you know, for obvious reasons. I don't look like her. And then finally, one day, she let me hold her. And my God, that was almost like the happiest day in my life. And ever since then, we were inseparable. Every time she came over to see me, I had to play with her for hours. We just played and played, but I always played with her right in front of the eyesight of her mother and father. And we developed a wonderful relationship together. Matter of fact, if you go to my YouTube, you see her and I doing the highlights. You know, have you seen her? So anyway, so that's something that you never do is never play. And one thing being in the Philippines, you know, I understand parents' concern, but I knew when I was coming up, I used to be able to go to the park about 5 blocks away to a park, and on my trek to the park, I was stopping by candy. I would talk to this grocery guy, or I say hello to this guy here in the hallway, or you know, in other words, social skills. I was developing social skills to be able to talk to people, you know, in my journey, I guess the best way to say it. And I'm one of those who the parents said, make sure you're home before the street lights come on. You know, so one of those things. So, which brings us today, I understand the paranoia. I think there's somewhere where a woman came outside and there was a guy offering 2 kids Christmas presents. And when the driver saw, he peeled off. I understand the dangers out there with children today. I do understand also that one thing they're lacking today is social skills. Often the time they get banished into their rooms where the internet and all this other stuff is going on, and especially in the inner cities, you know, where there isn't a whole lot of dialogue going on with the parents or the siblings, you know, other than one-word answers and pornography or profanity phrases, you know. But we don't have that deep conversation like you see on TV, you know, whenever you see a family and you sing at the table, and how was your school today? What did you learn today? Someone like this one. We don't have that conversation. And because we don't have that conversation, you know, we lack social skills. So as a result, the child is taken and put in a classroom of 20 other kids with no social skills, and what you got is pure total chaos. You know, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate we live in a society that parents have to be so closely protecting over their kids, like mother hens, you know, that they can't let them sit outside on the stoop, you know, and by the time they're able to, by that time they're already recruited by some type of element that's going to lead them astray. And it's unfortunate for that. I remember my mother told a story that she went to a fortune teller, and she had 4 sons, and the fortune teller told her that one of her sons was going to die. And I remember her saying, she said that, you know, she said, I look after my kids like mother hens, it's not going to happen. And sure enough, one of my brothers was killed in a fire. So anyway, here in the Philippines, there are a lot of children. You know, I carry candy in my pocket. Giving candy to a child in the street in the States is almost like unheard of. You don't do that. I mean, even if you were to, you would always first ask the parent if it's okay. You wouldn't take it upon yourself to walk up to a strange child and want to offer give him candy. You know, that's really bad form. Case in point, you know, I'm a photographer, I'm a headhunter. I believe I told this story once before, and then I'm going to get to the Filipino children. As a headhunter, I had no problem being in a supermarket, walking the street, on the bus, and seeing a child who may have that look, or an old person who may have that look, a character look, or a girl who may have that look, or the guy who may have that look, and say, look, here's my card, call me, I'd love to take your picture. I'm a headhunter for modeling agencies. I work with Barbizon, Legent, Wilhelmina, Ford, Casablanca, John Robert Powers, and the list goes on and on and on. I've worked with modeling agencies. So when I was in Long Island, and remind you, when I hand out my advertisement, it always says, you know, if you're under 18, parental consent is required. So I was on Long Island, and I saw these, you know, because I'm doing an English and Spanish magazine, of course, Spanish girls or Spanish young girls will always, you know, of interest to want to photograph, because number one, I think all women are beautiful, just all of them. There's no such thing as an ugly woman, just a lazy woman. I think they're all beautiful. So when I handed her the flyer, about 2 hours later, I had a knock on my door, and I opened it, and it was the police. The police said, "Did you hand this underage girl this flyer?" I said, "Yes, I did." He said, "May we come in?" I said, "Yes, you can." And I said, "Officer, if you look on the bottom of it, it says parental consent is required." So of course they looked at my work, they looked at my newspaper articles and all that stuff, and they said, "Okay, we just want to make sure you're legit." I said, "Okay, fine, I understand." I've never handed out another flyer since, for the simple reason that over the years, telling someone you're a photographer is almost like telling someone you're a serial killer or you're a perv or you're skis, something like this, with all the bad raps that a lot of legitimate photographers have gotten over the years due to some serial killers being photographers, or some photographers having hidden cameras in their dressing rooms, or things of that nature. So photographer has almost become a taboo type of profession. You want to say that you do. Okay, so anyway, getting back to Filipino children, it's so nice. It's so nice to be around with a whole group of them, smiling and talking. Not much. I mean, the parents may be there, they maybe not there. They may be just out on their own hustling. But then I don't have that pressure that I would have in the United States, or stopping and talking to a child, or saying, "What's your name? What's your name? Are you hungry? Come on, let me go buy you some Jollibee." The Jollibee is the big thing like this, because not only are my intents are sincere, but then I don't feel that pressure of feeling that one might think that I'm doing something wrong when I'm not. Especially, I'm already kind of known. They call me the candy man, because it's so a lot easier to walk around with candy in your pocket than giving a child each time you see them a coin. I give them candy, and that seems to work out better, because they can do a lot more than candy than they can do with the peso. Because the peso, they usually turn it over to someone, and that someone usually turns it over to someone, and that someone usually uses it to enrich their lives, and not so much that of the child who's out there hustling. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. But anyway, I have strayed, not really, because we stayed up, but that's what the Philippines is known for. It's known for being the #1 country for child molesting, and they're trying to pressure Google, Twitter, and all of them to be more vigilant on prosecuting those who are on the internet. They need to protect more. Now, President Duterte has had a problem with the media here, because, as a matter of fact, just recently he spoke about how he felt the media has been kind of like lynching him in the media because, didn't like the way he talked. Because Duterte has no problem saying, "I'm going to get you," like that, if that's what he's out to do. Just like he called Obama's mother as mother of a whore. Which you have to understand, that's the culture. I can understand it. I can understand that in some parts of the country, a woman having sex with a man out of wedlock or not being married, not only is considered, a whore, but could be stoned to death and killed, or, the family could be involved. As a matter of fact, there's this family killing. The family may do a kill with a woman. So, her not being married in a foreign country and having sex with one of the locals, yes, it can be. A lot of people don't like hearing that, but again, you got to deal with different cultures. Anyway, he's trying to make peace, not so much make peace with the media, but trying to say, look, let's work together on federalism. Let's work together on talking about the good qualities of the Philippines. Don't talk so much about the drugs. Don't talk so much about the murders. Let's try to unite and talk about the positiveness that the country has to offer. It's called federalism. And I think that's a good idea. I think it's something that we all should be able to take a lesson from, is to let's point out some of the good things of what we do, more so than always wanting to point out the bad. Let me see. Okay. Now, for some reason, I've been doing a lot of disservice to a lot of them because I can't pronounce their names, but or the town. But this one police captain, his name is Filipino National Police Director General Ronald Bato, Bato, Dela Rosa. You know, here he is. You know, I'll show you a picture of him. I don't know how well you can see the picture. Let's see if I can get a glare. Okay, there he is. You know, I like him. You know, I saw him once. I read an article when I first came to the Philippines that he was leaving the police force in January. And he said, look, all I want to do is just fish. He said, I just want to fish and spend time with my family. And right then I said, that's what I'm talking about. At this time, you were in the height of what the drug war was going back. There was a lot of murders taking place and whatever. For whatever reason, you know, he just said, look, you know, I had enough, I'm out, you know, which is fine. But come to find out that he reaches the age of 62, I think it is, or 52 or 56. At age 56, he's obligated to retire. So he has said that, he says, look, he says, I still got a lot of fight in me. I still got a lot of chase the criminals in me. You know, I still can do more. And Duterte has allowed him to extend or postpone his retirement for a little while, which is a good thing. You know, because you know, I think he's been a stand-up guy on the drugs. He's been a stand-up guy on talking about police brutality and also on investigation and corruption within the police department and the government of the Philippines. So it's good to see he's going to stick around. Although I really would like to see him kick back and fish. You know, that's a beautiful thing. Okay, I'm going to okay, now, you know, in the United States, in the United States, we had this big thing with Colin Kaepernick, or Colin Kaepernick, or however his name is. You know, he protests the United States by taking a knee during the singing of the Star Spangled Banner. You know, in some countries, doing something like that, they take a lot more seriously. You know, I think for one reason, it's the culture. You know, and when you're talking about other countries, you're talking about the culture of the Koreans. You're talking about the country and culture of the Japanese. And the Philippines, you're talking about the culture and country of the Philippines. Whereas the United States, you're talking about the country and the diversity, the saturation, and the melting pot of the country. So what happened was that here, instead of, I say all that to say this, that sitting down during the time of the national anthem is played, or not stopping and taking notice of the national anthem being played, can often lead to, you know, I'm not gonna say consequences, but you know, it's not very good. It's not a very good thing to do. Well, rather than them doing here, what they did was they were protesting one of the officers here, a woman who was involved in one of the departments of labor or something, and they're trying to get her removed because of her spending, because of her lavish spending of taking trips and etc. So what they did was that instead of taking a knee, they all wore black T-shirts. And I thought, wow, that's cool, you know. So just imagine a sea of black T-shirts, you know, being a part of the support of wanting to have you removed, which I think is a very powerful statement, you know, to do that rather than protest by taking a knee or not standing during the national anthem of a country being played. Okay, this is Gerard, editor-in-chief of Filipino Soul Magazine. Remember, dreams are nothing more than plans awaiting action. Never disrespect the elderly and always pull someone up. And sometimes you're the only one who can see your vision. And the best revenge in life is to live good. Ha! I'm living good, baby. I don't know about you. And if you haven't got a dream, a goal, an idea, a train of thought, don't worry about it. Get as much as you can, as fast as you can, and go home. And remember, I will always love you more. And like Ollie Woodson, former lead singer of The Temptation, once sung, and if you're lucky enough to have a woman, treat her like a lady. And ladies, if you're lucky enough to have a good man, make him feel like a king. I love you like a love song, baby. I'll talk to you later. Peace. I'll do a part 2.